Hello friends of YouTube. Today I wanted to talk about survivor offerings. These are items that you can unlock in the blood web, which I covered in a previous episode. But so they will be here in the blood web, and then all you have to do when you load out is up here, like pop one in there and take it back out. Right up here you can put in an offering. And offerings will do many different things depending on what you put in them. So I wanted to kind of talk about them real quick, break it down as far as the different types that we have. So, let me start off with basement and hatch offerings. So, you'll see I have a lot of these because, there we go, like I have 19 and 20 of these over here, because they are very situational. So, as a survivor, knowing where the basement is pretty important, but it's always going to either be in the main building or the shack. And if you're on a map that doesn't have a main building, it's going to be in the shack. If you have a map that doesn't have a shack, it's going to be in a main building, or usually most of them are very consistent spawns. So knowing where the basement is important, and as a new player, this actually isn't a bad offering to run, but as you gain more experience, you'll use it a lot less. Spawning hatch can also be very good. If you know where hatch is going to spawn, it makes it easier to get out. However, the killer also knows where it is because you made an offering for it. So it makes it a little bit risky to actually try to get hatch unless you're bringing a key or you're using Plunderer's Instinct to hopefully find a key. It can get a little risky to actually put the hatch somewhere that the killer knows where it's at because it makes it easier for them to close it. The next type I wanted to talk about was blood points. Every like brown, yellow, green, and I don't think there's any purple. I think it's all just brown, yellow, and green. But there's different ones, and they all have like that bushel of flowers is for boldness, and then again it's down here. It's boldness, and I think I have it on the next page too. Boldness. So there are 4 categories you can earn points in. Boldness, of course, altruism, survival, and objective. And there are different tasks that you do throughout the match that give you points in those categories, and each category you can get a maximum of 8,000 points. So once you are at your maximum 8,000 points, these offerings just multiply that. So for example, if I were to burn this green offering for 100% bonus blood points in the boldness category, I would want to get into a lot of chases a lot because you'll gain bonus for dropping a pallet during chase, for stunning a killer either by dropping a pallet or with a flashlight or the perk head on, anything like that. You would gain I would earn all my blood points. So I'd want to max out my boldness category as much as I possibly can. And then after the match, if I earned 8,000 in that category, then I would get 8,000 more points because this is basically doubling my boldness. So there are different ones here. And then during events, we'll often have event offerings. And during like Lunar New Year, we have the red envelopes, for example. Those can only be used during the Lunar New Year event. For the anniversary, we get a sacrificial cake, and this can be used even after the anniversary event is over. You get to keep your cakes. So that's pretty nice. The next one I wanted to talk about was the fog fog offerings. So you have some that will lessen the dark mist, some that will thicken it, and having thicker mist, depending on your own cosmetics, can make it easier to hide, definitely. But for some killers, it can make it also easier for the killer to hide. So if you're going against a ghost face, for example, like they'll probably benefit a lot from having a thicker mist. They're a little bit difficult to see. Another thing to kind of consider is the mist doesn't really impact a whole lot unless everybody's putting a stack on. So if you have a group of 4 that you love to play with and everybody wants to put on this murky regent to greatly thicken the dark mist, go for it. If everybody puts it on, that's actually kind of really funny. There will be mist everywhere. So, but again, it could be to the benefit of your killer, but it could also be to the detriment. It's a risk to do, but it's pretty funny. It's kind of for memes sometimes. I would not wear this outfit on Nancy. I would probably put on like a either like this, that actually probably that, just so she's like harder to see in the fog. If you're going for that, you're probably going for stealth. The next one would be luck offerings, and it's along this similar line of, so the Vigo's jar of salty lips. You have some that will give luck to all survivors, the black salt statuette. But you have some that will only give luck to you personally. And just so you're aware with luck, when it says considerably, moderately, and I think, where's the other luck offering? Here it is, slightly. Slightly is about 1%, moderately is about 2%, and considerably is about 3%. So if I was going to go into this match and I wanted to burn this to increase my luck of all survivors considerably, everybody gets a 3% boost, which is cool, except the luck is only able to be used for unhooking yourself, which has a base of 4%. So if I burn this alone, everybody has a 7% chance of unhooking themselves, which is cool, but it's not very impactful. So it's similar to the fog offerings. If you're going to go for luck, it's better to do it with friends. And if everybody puts this on, then that is an extra 12%. So now you're up to 16% chance to unhook themselves. And then there's additional perks that you can add onto that to make it even more of a possibly successful chance to unlock yourself. So definitely not like an offering you want to run every time. I would definitely consider running any bonus blood point offerings before that, but it is there. There are also offerings for adding chests as a survivor. Killers on the other side have ones that will remove chests, but there's a yellow one and a purple one. So yellow adds one more chest to the match, and purple adds 2. And these do stack. So on the baseline, a normal game with no chest offerings, you're going to have 3 chests in the game, 1 in the basement, 2 on the map. With the purple coin offering, you're going to have it up to 5. With the yellow, it'll be 4. If you're with friends and other people burn these offerings, you can have an additional, at most, 8, for a total of 11 chests across the map, which can be pretty wild, especially if you bring a perk like Plunderers. You're going to really increase your chances of finding a key, possibly, but also just really good like med kits and toolboxes to help you in the match. So that is something that you could do with the coin. And there are also offerings to send you to specific maps. So some maps are considered survivor-sided. They're a little bit more better for survivors. One that I would say is probably like well, obviously. Okay, everybody, you'll learn. Everybody, all the killers hate Haddonfield, very survivor-sided. Springwood is very similar, very survivor-sided, and I can talk about that in another episode, but there are maps that you can send yourself to, so if you're just like, I really love the Saw map, the game, I want to go there. So you put on this map, it'll send you there, most likely, unless someone else burns another offering, or somebody burns an offering to prevent that. If you have a map like the Red Forest, or Yamaoka, or Macmillan Estate, where they have different variations of the map, you're going to go to one of the variations, most likely. You can't really specify, I want to go to Shelter Woods. Like, it could put you in Shelter Woods, but it could also put you on Coal Tower. So, that's a thing to consider with the maps, but it can put you generally in where you want to be. But if you want an actual specific map, it's got to be one that has only one variation, like Larry's, the game, Haddonfield. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? Oh yeah, speaking of maps, Sacrificial Ward. So both Killers and Survivors have this offering, and this is so you can actually prevent a map offering. So you're never going to know somebody else is putting up a map offering until the game's actually loading in. It's a risk if you want to use it. I know Killers, if they suspect that they're going against a Swift, which is a group of friends playing together, they'll sometimes put this on just so that the friends don't you know, manage to take them to Haddonfield, for example. So that is something that you can do, is stop a potential map offering from being used. The only way it can be override is if 4 other people use an identical offering. So if you have a group of 4 friends playing together, they all want to go to Haddonfield. If they all burn the Haddonfield offering and the killer burns this, doesn't matter, they're going to Haddonfield. The other hand is we have the White Ward. This protects you from losing your items and add-ons. So let's say I go into the match, I only have this 1 anniversary med kit and I don't want to lose it. But I'm probably going to die because I die all the time. Or I have a really good add-on like an insta-heal or the Septic Agent or anything like that. If I don't want to lose those, it's good to protect them, and you can put on the White Ward offering. And that'll help keep it safe. Alright, the last thing is the shrouds. So there are 3 different shrouds that you can have. Yeah, so 2 yellow, 1 purple. So this one actually is not bad. Vigo's Shroud. You start as far away as possible from the killer. It puts you pretty much on the opposite side of the map from the killer. They're going to likely run into someone else before you. And not a guarantee. They could still find you first. But that is a possibility. It kind of helps you stay a little bit safe at the start of the match, right? Now the other 2, Shroud of Union starts you in the trial right next to someone else. And the purple one, Shroud of Binding, all survivors start the trial together. Sounds great. However, one of the biggest tips that I can give to new survivors is split up. It's actually, for the most part, there's a couple of killers that actually can be countered more by grouping up, but for the most part, you're going to want to split up and be away from other survivors. If everybody's on their own generator, you can get them done faster. If everybody's split up, the killer can't just go and hit everybody all at once. Like if you have a Legion, for example, they're going to injure everybody very quickly if you're all together. So for the most part, in almost every scenario, it's best to not be around other survivors. So these are a little bit weird. Killer has a separate one that actually separates the survivors, which I wish they would flip these so that killers get the ones to put the survivors all together and group them up, and survivors had ones to separate them. This one's not as bad, but I honestly, unless you have a gimmicky plan for everybody to hop on a generator and finish it in 5 seconds because of a specific build that you're bringing, I would advise of not using this very often, because it can actually hurt you as a survivor group, which is insane for it being a purple offering, but that is what it is. Let me double check that I got everything, but I believe I did. Out of all of the offerings here, what I would recommend is anytime you have a blood point offering, go ahead and burn it. If there's, the way you can prioritize it is as you learn the game. If you're like, oh, I'm really good at just like sitting on generators, go for the objective one. If you're really good, if you like getting a lot of chases, go for the boldness. Like, prioritize them as far as how you would use them. But all of the blood, excuse me, all of the blood point offerings, those would be the ones that I would prioritize. Everything else is just like a little bit gimmicky if you're going into the match with some sort of a plan. They're not super relevant, which is why I have 10s to 20s of these back here, and like 1 escape cake, which is one of the best blood point offerings you can bring. So I burn them all the time. Every time I get an escape cake, almost, I burn it. So yeah, so that is about offerings. If you guys have any other questions about anything within the game, please leave them in the comments. I would love to continue making this guide to help new players get used to some of the mechanics of the game. I might start doing more gameplay videos, specifically talking about, like, you know, looping, safe on hooks, and all of that. But we'll see. I kind of want to get through a lot of the little ins and outs first of, you know, kind of getting set up and ready to actually play the game first. But yeah, if you have comments or questions or anything, leave them in the comments, and I will see you guys later in the fog. Bye!